Hi, morning everyone. Am I audible? Okay, we'll wait for another 2 minutes. Let's start by 7:40. Okay, morning guys. Let's start with the session then. Right. So today we have first session for Lrdi, right, which consists of a tabular diagram and bar graph. Right. So you'll have data in terms of tabular diagram and bar graph, and you'll have to answer question based on that. Now, since this is the first session, before we move on to the exercise, let's look at some of the basics, right? We should be aware of, and also what kind of a questions should we expect in DI parts, right? So today's exercise more focuses on DI, data interpretation part, right, and calculation. So first thing that is a must, right, if you want to score well in DI is reciprocals, or what I also call as percentage equivalent for fractions. So what is this is, right? You, since percentages has been done, you guys must be aware like 1 by 7 is 14.28%, 1 by 13 is how much percentage, right? Similarly, 9.09 percentage, if I want to write in fraction, how much is this, right? What about 8.33%? What is that? Similarly, 5.88% is equivalent to what? Or 1 by 16 is equivalent to what? Are you guys aware of this? Yes, no? I think this should have been done in percentages. Percentage equivalent for various fractions, right? I think up to 20 this should have been done till 1 by 20, right? So this is a prerequisite. If you are aware of this, it helps, right? So let me write down for the ones that I have written. 1 by 13 would become 7.7, 9.09% would become 1 by 11, 8.33 would be, sorry, 5.88 will be 1 by 17, 8.33 would be 1 by 12, 1 by 16 will be 6.66, sorry, 6.25, 6.66 is 1 by 15, not 1 by 16. So 6.66, it would be 1 upon 15, right? So since you guys are saying this, you are already aware of, so let's move on to the next concept, right? So this is something that will help you a lot in quant as well as DI for calculation, right? So be thoroughly prepared with this. Now, how to check whether you are well prepared with reciprocals or not? Say from 1 by 1 to 1 by 20, you should be able to write all of them in a piece of paper inside 30 seconds, right? So if you want to check what is the level of your preparation, if you want to perform as a cream, that means a top percentiler, you should be able to write them inside 30 seconds from 1 by 1 to 1 by 20, right? So that way you can check what is your preparation level. Okay, next. So once this is done, second is we'll get questions which will be based on calculate what is the percentage increase or decrease. This term would be quite frequently used, percentage increase or decrease, right? Or what is the percentage growth percentage, right? These terms might be used in questions, so we should be aware how to calculate this. So this is calculated as final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. That is how we calculate this, right? Final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. That is how we calculate this. Let me take for an example, say if there is a bar graph that has been given, so these are sales of companies from year 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. Let's say numbers are 50, 55, 45 and 60 lakhs. These are in lakhs. These are sales for some company ABC, right? Sales of ABC, that is what we mean. Now if it is asked how much is this sales, what is the percentage growth from 2001 to 2004? How much has been the growth or the increase? So how do we calculate this? Final value, it is going to 60 minus 50 upon 50 into 100. Right, so that will calculation on calculation will come out to be 20%. It has grown by 20%. That is what we say. Right, so I'm sure most of you must be aware of this before itself. Right, so this is one concept based on which questions are asked. Next, an extension for this is, right, sometimes you will ask when is the maximum growth, right? Max percentage growth is seen when. So how that is question which is based on comparison. Right? That means maximum growth is seen in which year would be asked. So what do we do for this is, so if I want to calculate this from 1 to 2, how much has been the growth? 5 out of 50. Right? From 2 to 3 there is a decline. What is the decline? 10 out of 55. And next year it is 15 out of 45. So these have been the changes over the year. So the question might ask where is the maximum percentage change? So you'll have to calculate maximum change is where in terms of percentage. That means you have to compare these fractions. Into 100 is the common part in all. It is given in percentage. If the question is indirectly asking for the value, where has the change in the value been maximum, they will use this term, absolute. Absolute means what? In terms of value, right? Irrespective of the sign, positive or negative, right? Absolute change means irrespective of the sign, positive or negative, whereas the value wise it has changed more, right? So that is again something you should be prepared for. Next, another extension for same is you might be asked what is simple annual growth rate, SAGR, right? Also called as simple annual growth rate. Now, how do we calculate simple annual growth rate? Right, so simple annual growth rate is calculated as percentage change or increase, decrease, whatever we calculated, divided by number of years. Right. So let's take the same example, say from 2001 to 2004, the question is asking what is the simple annual growth rate. Right. So how would we calculate this? We calculated the percentage change was 20%, right, like before. So it is an extension of that. 20% divided by how many years have passed by? 1, 2, 3. So 3 years have passed by. So you divide 20 by 3 and you say simple annual growth rate is 6.66%. Right. So that is another concept that you should be aware of, which will be asked in questions, that what is the simple annual growth rate. Next, sometimes we might get a question which will ask what is compounded annual growth rate, CAGR. Right. So same as this is like simple interest, this is like compound interest. So again, same thing. That means what number, if we do compound, it will reach 20%, because our percentage change we know is 20%. Right? So what number compounded, right? 3 times, because the years are 3, what number compounded 3 times will reach 20%. That is what we need to find. So first thing, whenever this is asked us, CAGR is always less than your SAGR. So there is no formal method to calculate this. What do? Is we just use hit and trial method to calculate the compound annual growth rate. Right. So compound annual growth rate, how do we calculate? It is by hit and trial method. So first thing is we calculate SAGR. SAGR comes out to be 6.6. So I know my answer for compounded annual growth rate is 6. Now, if less than 6, there are 2-3 answer options. Say 5 is also there, 6 is also there, right? Then how do we choose? So that time we use something that is called as our successive percentage change. I'm sure this should have been discussed in your percentage session. Successive percentage change is calculated as a x plus y plus xy into 100, or a plus b plus a into b by 100. Right? Has this been done? Right? I'm sure this, right, the faculty who would have taken, he would have discussed this formula. Might be in some other term or form. Right? If not, let me know. Yeah. So how do we use this? So as I said, it might be 6 or 5, anything. Let's say if this, I'll try doing for 6 or 5 both. So 6 means we are saying 6 compounded 3 times, right, should reach 20%, or 5 compounded 3 times should reach 20%. So let's see which of them reaches. If I do successive of 6 and 6, it will give me 6 plus 6 plus 6 into 6 by 100. That will give me 12.36. Right? Compounding of these two will give me 12.36. Now I'll compound this with this. So it will give me 12.36 plus 6 plus 12.36 into 6 upon 100. So that will come 18.36 plus 0.72. Right, approximately this will be 0.72. So 19.08, that means I am getting a total of 19.1%. I want 20, that means 5 is definitely less, because 6 itself is giving 19.1, so 5 is definitely less. Right? Now, so after 6, now how less have I reached? I have reached how much less? I am 0.9 less. So again, 0.9 divided by 3 means 0.3. That means the highest I should be able to increase is 0.3. That means I should be able to, if I do around 6.2 something, right? So I should be able to reach 20%. So that is how we do by hit and trial. You take an integer and you try, where do you reach, right? And then based on what number you have reached, you make a guess that, okay, this number should take me through to whatever we are looking for. So the exact value might be 6.26 or 6.25, something around that. Right? Is it clear? How to calculate compounded annual growth rate? Okay. Next, let's move on to the next concept. right? Next concepts are pretty straightforward, right? You will get questions which will be based on averages. That means they would ask calculate the average, right? They'll give few numbers, say what is the average. Say in my previous example, I might ask what is the average sales of the company in these 4 years, right? And so on. So average, I'm sure again ratios has been done. So you guys must be aware this is calculated as sum of all the numbers divided by their count. Right, so that is how we calculate average. Next is you might be asked to calculate ratios, right? We did in percentage also. Ratios might be say something like what is the ratio of sales in 2001 to ratio of sales in 2002, right? Something like that. So you'll have to calculate those numbers and take whatever are the numbers, you calculate that and take the ratio accordingly. Now in ratio, one of the most important factor is comparison. You will get many a times question in ratios which will ask for comparison. So let's discuss some scenarios of comparison and how what can we say from that. So I'll give you few ratios, right? So arrange them in the ascending order, right? Or let's forget ascending order. Tell me which is the biggest of all. And just tell me, I'll give you a few ratios. You tell me which is the biggest of these. Say if I give you can you tell me which is biggest in this in terms of value, which will come up with the biggest? Out of these four, which one will be biggest? Right, so our answer is 3 upon 5. Yes. Okay. So our answer for this should be 3 by 5. Next, let's take another example. Say if I give you which is the biggest here? So it is 14 by 12. Now here, how do we choose? So first is, right, what is here and here? Why I gave these two scenarios is, first is I made numerator as same. If you look at all the examples, my numerator is same. So if my numerator is same, so first conclusion that I should be able to make, if my numerators are same, right, the answer is determined by the smaller the denominator, bigger is the value, right? So if numerator is same, first conclusion, if numerator is same, smaller the denominator, bigger is the value. Second one, in second scenario, I made the denominator same. If the denominator is same, right, then bigger the numerator, bigger is the fraction, right? So that is our second conclusion. Next, let's look at next one. Yeah. So tell me which is the biggest one here. Yes, the answer is 15 by 19. Right. So let's see. Now what is unique here? Unique here is the gap between my numerator and denominator is always 4. Right? Gap is always 4. Right? So when the gap is always same, right, then bigger the numerator, bigger is the number. Right? So if your gaps are always same, so your conclusion should be. So what we are looking at, we are looking at technique where I don't actually calculate the value and I can tell that which is the biggest, which is the smallest. If gap is always the same, bigger the numerator, bigger the number. Let's try next one more. Okay, here which is the biggest one? No, 83 by 79 is wrong, right? So the correct answer is 19 upon 15. This is again gap of 4 itself, what I discussed, but there is a difference. What is the difference between these two scenarios, third and fourth scenario? Can any one of you point out? What is the difference between these two scenarios? So obviously the common is in both the gap between numerator and denominator is 4, but the difference is in the third scenario, the denominator was bigger, and in the fourth scenario, the numerator is bigger. Right? Yes. So in the first scenario that I took, right, the denominator was bigger. The third one and fourth one, the numerator is bigger. So if numerator is bigger, right, and the same gap thing comes, then your answer becomes opposite. Smaller the number, biggest is the fraction. Here, right, in this case, when I took, right, when the numerators are smaller, so in the number above are smaller than the number below, then biggest is the number, biggest is my answer. Whereas if the numbers above are more and denominator is lesser, then how do we choose? Smallest number will become the biggest answer. Are these 4 cases clear? Okay, next let's move to one last scenario. Right? Say if I give you something like Okay. Can you guys tell me which is the biggest in this? So here, if you see, right, somewhere I've given gap of 2, somewhere I've given gap of 4. Okay, here also incidentally 4, here gap of 3. So there's nothing consistent in these fractions, right? So if you get fractions like these, right, where there is no pattern, in the previous 4 examples that I took, there was a pattern. Either the numerator was same or denominator was same, right? Or you had the gap same, right, between numerator and denominator, something like that was there. Okay, just give me a minute. All right, so okay, let's discuss back. So in when such scenario is there where random fractions are there, right? You don't have any pattern as such. Then how do we compare it? So then one way is you calculate the value, what is 5 by 7 and this and this. So you calculate the value. That is one approach. Or the other approach is what you do is you do the simple technique is you do cross multiplication. If I multiply here and here, right, what would come out to be bigger? Right, 15, if this 15 goes and multiply here, this becomes what? 75. 7 goes and multiplies here, this becomes 77. So which side number is bigger? 77 is bigger. That means between these two, if I have to compare, then 11 by 15 is bigger compared to this. Is this making sense? Is this clear how to do this part, what I did? So in this method, we can compare only 2 at a time, right? So between these two, this is bigger. Next, now I want to compare between these two. So let's compare between 11 by 15 and 9 by 13, which is bigger. If I multiply here and here, 13 into 11 will give 143. 15 into 9 will give 135. That means again this side is coming bigger. This side, what is the number that I have? 11 by 15. So 11 by 15 is still bigger than 9 by 13. That means this is also not my answer. The bigger till now is 11 by 15. Last, I'll compare 11 by 15 with 7 by 10. This goes here, 110. 15 into 7, 105. So 110 is again bigger, and we can say. Or what we could have done is we could have compared these two. Whichever biggest would have come, we would have compared that with 11 by 15. Right, so 110 is bigger. That means 11 by 15 is biggest of all. Right, so is it clear? Is the method clear? Same way, if you have to choose the smaller also, use the same technique, vice versa. Right, so if we are supposed to compare the fractions, this is the method that we use. Now here, many people, what mistake they do is they do 5 into 15 and write 75 this side. No, always the denominator goes up and multiplies. So you will do 15 into 5 and write 75 on this side, 7 into 11 and you will write 77 on this side. Right. I hope this is clear. So if this is clear, let's move on to the exercise. Right. So these are few basics that we should be aware of. Let's look at the first set. So the first set says in the following table, information regarding publishing books of different publishers has been given. So if I read the table, it will say something like A is a publishing house, right, which has total 28,200 books being published. They are published in the ratio 7:3. right? In academic and non-academic, that means if I have to do academic, non-academic, I'll be doing this in the ratio 7:3. So 7 by 10 of 28200, and this will be 3 by 10. How do I get 3 by 10? 7 plus 3 is 10. 28200. So that will give me 8460 here. And this would give me 41,140,740. Right. So 19,740 and 8,460. These should be the numbers of academic and non-academic books. Now, percentage of books distributed, that means 81%. So if the question is asking how many books are distributed, it should be 81 percentage of 28200. If it is percentage of book, how many percentage of academic books are distributed? I'll assume the distribution of this is in the same. That means I'll assume 81% because these are the academic books. 81% of these gets distributed and 81% of these gets distributed. If it is asked what is the percentage of academic and non-academic books being distributed. Next, number of distributors for that publishing house. So number of distributors for the first publishing house is 17. That means 28,200 books are distributed by 17 publishing houses, right? Sorry, number of 17 distributors for publishing house A. So if the question is asked what is the number of book, what is the number of non-academic book, right? How many non-academic book of publishing house A will one distributor get? So what is the total non-academic book? 8,460. How much will each distributor get? This is distributed in by 17 distributors. So each distributor, so if I assume this is 8,500 approximately, 8,500 is 5 times. So very close to 500 should be my number. That means every distributor is getting around 500 books. Right? I hope how to read the data that is clear. If all gets distributed, it should be this. But if only 81% are distributed, so I should have done 81% of 8460 and then that divided by 17. So when I did this, I assumed all 100% got distributed. If it is asked for this table, I should have done 81% of 8460. So it should be 81% of 8460 because out of total, only these many get distributed by how many people? 17. So this might come somewhere around 400. Right? So that would be our answer. So I hope reading the table is clear. Let's start with the exercise. So let's do one or two questions together. Then I'll give you time. It's around 10 minutes. Try to finish off the caselet. Then we'll discuss. So the first question says, what is the sum of books published by D, E, and G? Simple addition of D, E, and G. So D is 31,200, E is 33,800. So if I add them, 31 plus 33, 64, and another 100, 65, and G is 37. 65 plus 37 is 102. So 1028. Any answer option with that? Answer option 3, 1028. That becomes my answer here. I hope this must be clear. Very straightforward question. Right. Next one. How many books more does publishing house G publishes over publishing house D? So G is making publishing how many more than D? So G is publishing 37,800. This is 31,200. I should just subtract them. So that comes out to be 6,600. Right. So 37,800 minus 31,200. This comes out to be 6,600. So that becomes our answer. Right. So our answer for question number 2 is 6600. Okay, so there are 15 questions, right? So it's 8:16 by now. So take around 10 minutes, right? We did already two. So till 8:26 or something, right? Try doing these questions. Then we will discuss their answers, right? So take around 10 to 15 minutes, right? Try doing these questions. If you have any doubt in any of the question, right? Just message me across. I'll explain. If there is any doubt in understanding, try doing this question. Then anyways, later we will discuss solutions for these, right? So that is how we'll be doing. So try these. Are you guys done? Okay, let's look at the answers then once you guys are done. What do you get for third one? 23,100, is that what you get? Answer option 4 for third one. What about others? Okay, fourth one. What do you get for fourth one? I think it should be 2376. First answer option. Fifth one. What do you get for fifth one? 69 upon 52. Yes. Sixth, what is the average number of books published by DEFG? What do you get for sixth? Yes, 34,625. Answer option 2. Seventh, if publishing house G was shut down after a year and its distributors merge with the rest of the publishing house, then which distributor will get the highest percentage increase? So how do we do this? Let's look at this, right? Without calculation itself, we can do this. Right? So the question says G was shut down, right? And its distributors will go to others. So G is shut down, G has 24 distributors. It will go to all others, right? Equally. That means 6 of them, each of them will get 4. So for him, increase will be 4 by 17, 4 by 23, 4 by 18. So if you remember, we discussed, right? If numerator is same, then smaller the denominator becomes my answer. So I have to just see whose base is small. So base is small for A, then A becomes my answer. So without calculating, I can say, right, it has to be A. So that is the reason I discussed that technique, right? The comparison of numerator denominator. So we can just do it with orally by looking at the numbers itself. Next, eighth one. Somebody raised doubt about this. So if all publishing house suddenly stop publication of non-academic books, which publishing house will be publishing less than half of its capacity? That means if the non-academic books are stopped, right, I will come down to half of my production capacity. That means when I look at the academic to non-academic ratio, I should be publishing more than half of my books that I publish should be non-academic, right? So I have to check between A, B, D, and F. So let's see. A, non-academic is only 3, not more than half. B, yes. B, 5 and 9 are non-academic. So B will be severely impacted, right? D, if I see, it is 8 is to 5. F is also 11 is to 6. So the second part in the ratio should be more. That is only for B. So B becomes our answer. Apart from B, if I look at which is the, can you tell me which is the other publishing house that will be impacted? just by looking at the ratios? Yes, G, right? So apart from B, G will be impacted. So, right, so that is how you answer question number 8. Next, let's to move ninth one. What is the total books distributed by D and F? What do you get for ninth? 56106. Okay. 10th. What is the average non-academic books by D, E, and F? What about 10th one? Okay, calculation for ninth is taking time. Let me look at it. What is the total number of books distributed by D and F? So D is distribution is what? 86%, and F is 82% of 35,700. Okay, let me. What was the question? Okay, what is the total number of books distributed by D and F? Okay, first thing that I can do is, if I look at the answer options here, right, last digit is different, 8006. If I can tell what is my last digit, right, I should be able to eliminate at least few answer options. So let's use that technique first here, right? So if I will do for D, D is what? 31200 into 86%. So that means double zeros will get cancelled. 2 into 6 is 12. So I'll get last number 2 from here. Right. Next, F if I do, it will give me again 357. Double zero will get cancelled into 82. So 7 into 2, 4. So my last number for my answer, if I add both the numbers, should come 6. That means my answer should be something which is ending in 6. Right. So if any calculation based questions are there, these are that you can use. Look at the last digits and then do. Right. So this way you should be able to do this much faster. What about 10th one? What is the average non-academic books distributed by D, and F? Okay, you guys said 10,992. Okay, this was done. Let's look at 11th one. What percentage of books published by House F are academic books distributed by one of the distributor of House F? Right. So how to do this? So for this, what I'll do is, this is for House F. So House F, these are the books that is being distributed. Right. 11 is to 7. Now question is asking what percentage is non-academic per distributor, right? So let's calculate that per distributor. So let's assume total books made by, so we will not taking this number, we'll take it, let's say total books made by F is only 100. So if out of 100, how many will be academic, how many will be non-academic? It has to be in ratio 11 is to 6, right? Let's take simple, round it off, 12 is to 6 or 2 is to 1. So 2 is to 1 means what? 66 books here, around 33 books here, right? 67 and 33. So I'll say there are 33 non-academic books. Now out of those 33 non-academic books, how many will go to distributors? 82%. What is 82 upon 100 of 33? So 33 means nothing but 1/3. So 1/3 of 82 will come around, what if I cancel 27? 27, 28 is what will come out to. Now 28 books are distributed in how many distributors? 21. So how much will each get? So if I cancel this, this comes out to be 4 by 3, right? So that will be 1.33, somewhere around that, 1.3, 1.4, 2.5. What is the question asking? Let's see. Was it academic or non-academic? Okay, sorry, it was for academic. So I took 33, right? We should have taken 66. So I should have taken here 66, right? So 66, this will come somewhere around 50. If I do for 66 here, 66 is 2 by 3, so just double. So whatever I got, my answer should become double because I have done for 33. So answer should become double. So 8 by 3, that will come 2.66. So something answer should be near 2.66. So the nearest is 2.53. That becomes my answer. Is this clear? So again, I used approximation here. I didn't calculate the exact number, right? Because the question is asking what percentage of books. So I started with 100 itself. Let's assume it is making 100 books, out of which how many will be academic, how many will be non-academic, right? Then from that, how much will be distributed? Then next, how much will be distributed by each distributor? Okay, next let's look at 12th one. If the number of books published by publishing house A is half and that of G is increased by 50%, right? So then what is the new capacity of G by A? What is G upon A in percentage? We have to say that. So A will become half, G will become 1.5 times. So if A becomes half, half of this will become, that means A is now producing only around 14,000. 14,100 is what it is making. This will become 1.5 times. So this is around 38,000. 38,000 is 1.5 is 57,000. So 57,000 and 14,000. So this is nearly 4 times. So 400% should be my answer. Yes, answer option first one, 402. Correct. Right. So that would be our answer for this. 402%. Next, which publishing house publishes maximum number of academic books? What do you get for this? F. Is everyone getting F for this? Okay. Next, 14th one. If publishing house A decides to increase the number of books published by it by 15%, keeping everything else same, what is the approximate increase in the number of books sold by its distributors, right, of publishing house A? What do you get? 201. What about others? Is everybody getting 201? Okay, so let's see. So it says this publishing house A increases the books it is publishing by 15%, right? So if I increase this by 15%, what will be 15% of 28200? So what will be 10% of this? 2820 and 1410. So that will give me 4230. If I calculate, this is the total number of books that it will make. Now, out of this, 80% will be distributed. So I am forgetting the old books. I am just assuming how many new books. So how many new books will be there? 4,230 new books is because it has increased its production capacity by 15%. Right? Now out of this 81% will be distributed. So this into 81 upon 100. Right? So if 81% of this gets distributed, this should come around, say, zero point 0.8 of this will be 32, 33,600 or around 34,000 or 3,400. That is what I should be getting approximately. Now, this is distributed by how many distributors? 17. So 17 people are getting these many books. So how much will per person get? So per person should be getting approximately around 200 books. Right? So my answer for this one should be 200. I hope this is clear now, Priya. Okay, next let's look at the last of this caselet. The last one in this caselet is by if the administrative committee of publishing house reduces the distribution of books by 14 percentage points while keeping capacity of distributors constant, approximately how many distributors will lose their job? So what do you get for this? Three, four. Answer option 3, that is number 4. Okay, let's see how to do this. Right. So this was asked for which publishing house? The question was referring to publishing house D. Okay. So what I'll assume is, let's say D is right now making only 100 books. Right? So if it is making 100 books, right, and out of which 100, 86 get distributed. So out of 100, 86 get distributed. 86 get distributed by how many distributors? 24. 24. Right? So that means how much is one distributor getting? So if I calculate what will be 86 upon 24, let's cancel this off. So this gives me 43, 43 by 12. So 42 by 12 will be exact 3.5. So this is around 3.5 books. So if it is making 100 books, each distributor is getting around 3.5 books. That is what I can say. Now, the question says if 14 books are not made, if we stop publishing 14 books, or right, then what would happen? So in how many distributors will not be able to get? So if each distributor is getting 3.5, like that, 4 such distributors, 3.5 into 4 gives me 14. So what I should have done is 14 divided by 3.5, so that gives me 4. That means there should be 4 distributors who will not be able to get any books. Right, so our answer for this one should become 4. Right, so I hope all the questions here are clear. Right. Next, let's try the second set. Try question number 16 to 30. This is based on bar diagram now. Again, take, so there's around 8:55, right? So take around till 9:10, let's say 14 minutes, right? Try doing these next 15 questions, around 15 minutes or so by 9:10. So then let's start this discussion by 9:10. So are you guys done with 16 to 30? Are you guys done by now? Okay, so let's discuss. What do you get? 16th one. What is the sum of sales revenue of the company? Okay, 1400. Next one, 17th, absolute difference between cost of production in 2013 and 14. Yeah, 125. Next, what is the ratio of sales revenue to cost of production in 2016? 3:2, correct. Next, how many times during the given time period has cost of production exceeded 4.5? 4. Okay. What about 20th? What is the average sales revenue for 14, 15, and 16? I think it should come 625 or something. Yes. Next, sales revenue is approximately what percentage of cost of production in the year 2018? 152, yes. What is the percentage increase in cost of production of 2017 over 15? 11%, okay. What is the approximate percentage decrease in sales revenue? 23rd one. 24%, okay. Simple annual growth rate 2014 to 2018. Okay, why are we getting different answers here? 2.58 and 2.06. Let's see question number 24. Sales revenue 14 to 18. 14, what is my sales revenue? 14, my sales is 725. 18, it becomes 800. So it is increased by how much? It has increased by 75. So I should be doing 75 upon 725 into 100. Right, so this will come around what, 10.5%, somewhere around that. It's something very close to 10. That is what I should be getting for this. 10.4 or 5. Now that divided by how many years have passed? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this should be divided by 4. So that should be somewhere around 2.5 something. Right? So not 2.06. So you will not count 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Right? You will count 14 to 15 is 1 year, 15 to 16 is 1 year, 16 to 17 is 1, 17 to 18 is 1. Right? So that is how you calculate. Right? So I think the division part would have been the one which would have caused different answers. Right? So it should be 2.58. Next one, 24th one. Okay, 24th we did. 25th, compounded annual growth rate 15 to 18 for sales. 45, no. 15 to 18, what is the growth? 550 becomes 800. Right, so if I calculate that, 550 becomes 800. So the change is 250 upon 550 into 100. So 0, 0 cancels off. This becomes 5 upon 11. Yeah, 45%. But 45% in 3 years. Right? So what will be the compounding value? So if I just do simple, simple will come as 15. So my answer should be less than 15. Right? So let's see what are the answer options. Okay, so answer option 4 is not valid. So either it should be 13, 14 or 12. Right? So what about others? What have others got? So now let's look at which one, 13, 14 or 12, which of them will give me 45 if I do successive percentage 3 times. Right? So I have to do 3 times because 15 to 16, 16 to 17, 17 to 18. 3 cycles are there. So let's see, I'll do for 13, 13 being the middle value. Right? So let's do 13. So if I do for 13, 13, 13. 13 and 13 combine, right, will give me what? 20. So if I use the successive formula, 13 plus 13 plus 13 into 13 by 100. So 13 plus 13 is 26. 26 plus 1.69, 27.7 I'll get. Right? 27.7, and there is a 0.3 also. So let's say somewhere around 28 I'll get from this. Right? More than 28 you might be getting. You will exact value you might be getting 28.4 or something. So I'll get approximately 28. Now let's combine this 28 with last 13.3. So 28.3 plus 13.3 plus 28 into 13 upon 100. So 28 plus 13, this will give me around 42, and this will give me around 3. So that gives me 45%, very close to 45%. Right? So that means 13.3 is the correct answer choice here. I hope this is clear. So we have to, in compounded annual, just use successive percentage. What about 26th? What do you get for 26th? By what percentage is amount received from sales in 2014 more than 2017? So 14 is how much more than 17? So 14 is 725. Wait a second, the question was expenditure on production. Sorry, I have to compare with production of 17. So 725 and this is 500. So this is around 45% more. Yes. Okay, next one. 27th. How many years cost of production is more than the average cost of production? 2 years. 3. No. What is the average cost of production that you will get? It should come 3, 2, I think so. So average cost of production, if I add, right, so that will come what? 625 plus 11, 11 plus 4, 15, 15, 15 plus 9, 24, 30. It should come 500 something. Right, 625, 1125, 1125 plus this, so 1650, 1650, 17, 21, 30, 3500 is what it will come. So how many values are more than 500? Only first and the last values are more than 500. Right, so your answer should be 2013 and 18, 2 years are more than 500. So that should be your answer. Next. How many years average sales revenue is less than, how many years sales is less than the average sales? What do you get for 28? Okay, 28th also 2. 29th, by if the cost production of 2013 and 16 are increased by 25 and 30%, right? By what will be the total cost of these 2 years more than sales of 2017? So let's do this. 13 and 16, 25, 30%. So if I do this, 13, 25% means 13 and 16, and this is 30%. So this will become 520. If I increase this 30%, this will become 625 plus 1/4 of this. So 1/4 of this will be around 156. So if I add them totally, it becomes 770, 781. So 780 plus this will give me 1300. How is this related to 2007? So what is 800 out of 1300? Is it more or how is it related? Let's see. Okay, by how much is this more? Right, so just calculate how much is this more than the sales revenue. What do you get? 62.7. Yes, correct. Last one. Which year company had maximum profit? I think there is a 2017 or something. Yes, the gap here is 300. So the profit is highest here. Right, 2017. Right, so with that we finish this exercise. Any doubt in any of the question? As I said, right, so those initially what we discussed, those are few basic things that we should be aware of and basic formulas based on which questions are asked. Right, So with that, we will wind up. Just check if you have any doubts. I'll wait for another 2-3 minutes. Right? If you have any doubts, post them. Otherwise, we'll wind up this session. Okay, question number 27. In how many years cost of production is more than the average cost of production? Right. So what is the average cost of production? So let's see, 625. So I have to add these numbers. Cost of productions are 625, 500, 550, sorry, 450 is 450, 400, 500 and 525. So if I add these to 1150 plus 500, 1650, 1700, 2100, 3000 is the total. This divided by how many years are there? 6. So average is coming 500. Now how many of them are more than 500? This is more than 500. This is equal to, so not counted, not counted, not counted, not counted. This is again more. So how many years are they more than 500? 2 years. Right. So in 2 cases they are more than 500. Is it clear now? Okay, let's look at 28th one then. So average you are saying is 704. This time it is asked how many years sales revenue is less than average sales. Right. So we have to look at how many values are less than 704. So less than 704 is only 2, 15 and 16. Right. Question number 28 is asking less than. Right. One is asking more than, the other is asking less than. Yeah. So anybody else having any doubts? If not, then we will wind up. Right. So we'll wind up with the session then. Thank you.